As you know, the city has been working to prepare for what we know would be a significant public health challenge. The new public health order that we're announcing will require San Franciscans to remain at home with exceptions only for essential outings. These measures will be disruptive to day-to-day life, but there is no need to panic.
So when I heard that the schools were shutting down, my initial thought was, oh my God, what's gonna happen with the students? It kept me up at night thinking about what to do.
When it was first announced, to be honest, I didn't know what all of it meant. Like, oh, we're gonna have 2 weeks of shutdown and then hopefully we'll have more of an understanding.
Yo trabajaba en limpieza de casas. No seguí porque ya no tenía con quién dejar mis niños.
When the pandemic hit, we kind of transitioned going online. I was really worried and I thought I wasn't gonna make it through junior year.
At the start of it, I was feeling pretty good because we had a couple months off, and then it started getting serious and people started dying.
I still had to go to work. My husband still had to work. It's hard to keep kids in tune with just being online. That's how it is with Elijah. If you're not on him about something, then he'll just sort of slack off.
Given the terms of the shelter order, there was a lack of childcare for our healthcare professionals. So Director Sue and I were asked to come to a meeting in the mayor's office. We were asked to stand up emergency childcare for healthcare workers. So we basically had a long weekend to figure this out.
It was round the clock, nonstop conversations and trying to figure out the logistics, ensuring the safety of everyone that was going to be a part of the program, making sure that we had the staff to run the programs, and making sure that families knew that this program was available.
So as city employees, we're activated disaster service workers. We're going to be running these emergency childcare and youth centers for kids to kind of fill that gap for responders that needed to keep going to work. There was a sense of a lot of pride and responsibility in that we could be serving the city at this time during a very scary time for everyone and providing a safe space for kids.
That was my first experience of doing whatever it takes to ensure that we kept families at the center of everything that we did.
After the shelter in place, I was here by myself early one morning and I get a knock at the door and it's the mother of one of our past program participants and her daughter had been murdered. And she comes in the door, she's crying, and I couldn't be doing anything else in this moment. And I feel like, especially like being San Francisco natives, like if there were an earthquake, we'd all have to respond. As lovely as it would be to stay home and watch Netflix and bake bread, we cannot.
When we saw the data of children who did not log into their distance learning curriculum, and we saw the disaggregated data across our African Americans, our Latinos, our Pacific Islanders, our foster care kids, our kids who are homeless, knowing that our most marginalized children did not have access to an education that they have a right to. You just cannot unsee that data. We created this emergency child and youth care program that provided that care and support, and it was safe. So let's see what we can do now with the fall coming.
So once again, DCYF and Rec and Park set into motion planning to open up community hubs. But we couldn't do it alone, and we knew that we didn't have the facilities or staff to stand up all these sites ourselves.
The public library, our mission is really grounded in equity and social justice and mobilizing our staff, our facilities. It was really a no-brainer. We wanted to be here for San Francisco and be here for these families when they needed us the most.
We took the call for the learning hubs. We were really challenged to do that quickly. but it was for children. It was for families. So the team was on fire, knowing that we were meeting that need for students that were missing the support and the resources they need to learn.
We need to then connect with our community partners in order for this to happen. If we don't have our community-based organizations on board, this is not going to fly.
When the opportunity presented itself to run a community learning hub, I was the first one to want to be a part of that. To be honest with you, everyone on my staff was more excited than I was, ready to just get back and be in person and working with the kids.
I visited this Bernal Heights branch library the first day it was in operation, and I got here an hour before it was set to open. And at that time, there were already 3 families lined up outside, waiting patiently an hour before the doors were even set to open. It just really demonstrated how important that service was to them.
The transition was incredible, just to see the children with smiles on their faces, but then you witness some of the bad habits that they had picked up being at home. Kids were logging in, but then split screening, going to YouTube, on a Zoom. The teacher doesn't have any control of that. But here, our team is able to help them with that process. Like, hey, we got to get you back in class.
A lot of the staff remind me of my family members. Mr. Manny, he's a basketball player, and yeah, he teaches me a lot of stuff about that. He helps me with like growing up, leveling up, and being black. It makes me feel good because I know somebody's watching my back.
I think I saw a lot of growth in a lot of the younger children. Some of them, it was their first experience of school. They started to slowly but surely build relationships, and for them to have like more of a social aspect was really important for the families.
So we had kids come into our learning hubs with like 100 of missing assignments. Some kids didn't even sign on, and that wasn't their fault. It was because they didn't have the resources to do distance learning. We were able to provide that support so that the youth don't feel overwhelmed.
Every time a staff member is out sick, you worry, oh my gosh, do they have COVID? Every time a student says like, oh, I don't feel well, you're like, oh my gosh, do you have COVID? And everybody's waiting on bated breath to make sure like, please, let's hope this is not a positive test.
Everything shifted online and no one really thought about kids with disabilities. By putting a kid with a disability, like a lot of the students that we're working with, in front of a screen to do things like physical therapy, without a person there helping, it's not very successful. When they came in the beginning of this learning hub, we noticed a huge regression in a lot of our kids. The impact that this community hub, this in-person community hub has had on these families is honestly monumental.
Doing the activities and being around other people makes me feel happy because I like getting fresh air and I like playing outside and I like playing with the staff and the kids.
From a health and safety perspective, the hubs have been very successful. There were never any outbreaks at any of the community hubs in the city, and that also helps to benefit the greater health of these young people, because then they can continue to focus on their physical health and their mental health and their academic careers.
After this pandemic, we should be known for the city that said whatever it takes. We will do whatever it takes to support our kids, particularly our most marginalized children, to get the services that they need. And we've demonstrated that. We've demonstrated that literally from the beginning of the shutdown to now.
I think it's so easy to get caught up in a label and a process and then forget that we're serving a human. You know, the overall goal is to get these kids to learn skills and be able to thrive. And I think that the biggest takeaway is remembering and pausing to think, how is this service going to help this kid?
Young people are always at the will of the adults around them, right? And so I would just encourage young people to work hard never give up, take it over, burn it down. You are our hope.
During this pandemic, I've found that I can really do a lot more than what people expect me to do.
This year has really been an inflection point in regards to the racial injustices. A lot of the historical inequities have persisted through really, really, really wonderful individuals and really, really, really wonderful teachers. And we have to really look at this as a systems level issue, to let go of some of the power and control that we've always had, in recognition that this system just hasn't worked for some people.
This was a definite system interruption and an opportunity to reset and reform how we do things. All the folks who we partner with are definitely on board for that. The sky is the limit.